We're looking forward to this evening. In addition to having the wonderful cultural presentation of Scottish dancing, we are doing this in honor of our graduating president, Ruth Walsh. You've heard earlier in the day that Ruth is completing her term of service as president of NACRA, and she will become, she will occupy on our board the seat for the recent past president. So she will still be part of our deliberative process, but nevertheless she's graduating from her role as NACRA president. We want to express our huge gratitude to Ruth for all she has done for NACRA. There's no way I can start cataloging all she has done for NACRA, but I do want to say that for me, relatively a newcomer, what really impressed me was the quality of spirit which Ruth brought to her duties as our president. We only have 11 board members, but believe it or not, these 11 people can be a little fractious. Ruth has held everything together and enabled us to proceed in a coherent and useful way, mainly by the sheer force of her generous heart and her kindness and her clarity of mind. And this has been a really wonderful contribution to NACRA. So we're really glad that she's going to be continuing as part of our deliberative process, because these qualities are very much needed. Now, what we're going to do is we have our Robert Burns evening, which is a wonderful thing we're going to experience. And we're going to do this in honor of Ruth. Now, Ruth is a one-of-a-kind person, so I have had this imagination that Ruth would be the honoree and that she would sit on a throne and that she would watch as the unfolding of this pageant occurred of Scottish dancing. No, because Ruth is going to dance in her own tribute. So she is going to be a dancer as well as the honoree. So we have to keep in mind that the person whirling around there is really the guest of honor and not just a member of the company. To begin, I'm going to ask two of our friends on the board to offer some reflections on Ruth's service. And the first of these friends from the board is Marlene Warner.
Our association has been fortunate indeed that our outgoing president accepted our urgent need for a leader with those special qualities that provide for level-headed leadership and encourage collaboration and sharing of vision and responsibilities. Though she had little preparation for this particular role, we knew her experience as president of a vibrant state organization would serve us well. Her careful attention to details for the planning of our various meetings helped us keep on track and provided opportunities for open exchange of ideas. I think you saw that this afternoon, we do really exchange ideas. And for that, we are extremely grateful. One of her first actions after election was to make a trip to Lakeland, Florida, which marked her as a very eager learner. She wanted to learn all she could from our longtime leader and mentor, past President Charles Paul. We were fortunate at those sessions to also have the benefit of insights from Bennett Napier of Partners Incorporated, who did so much to grow the Florida Association flag. Julia Hicks, Jack Cumming, and I joined in this insightful vision, which helped so much to begin to promote the development of a collaborative relationship for our board. For your fortitude, patience, inquiring mind, and spirit of infinite goodwill, we salute you, Ruth Holland Walsh.
second friend who's going to offer some thoughts is Jack Cumming.
You get a wicked smile.
I hardly know what to say. Ruth, this is your day. This is your party. This is your community. This is your NACRA, and we're your people. This is a real tribute. It's a joy to do it. Our story begins in October 2010 when I first met Ruth Walsh. We were in Los Angeles for the Leading Age National Meeting, and Ruth was sharing a room with Marlene Varner and Julia Hicks. I'm sure that as her neighbors, you know that Ruth is thrifty. What else would you expect? After all, she's deeply involved with Scottish dancers, and we know how thrifty the Scots can be. In her leadership, Ruth has been continuously focused on giving NACRA members the best value possible for the dues they pay. That has not been easy, but she has produced amazing membership value with very limited funds. Kudos to you, Ruth, for that. But let's return to our story. After that, and Marlene has already mentioned this, after that first meeting in Los Angeles, I next encountered Ruth in Florida when she flew out to meet with Charlie Polk. And you've all heard about Charlie. He's been a presence here in this room today, and I'm sure that he wishes he were here. I know he wishes he were here. Ruth was about, and Charlie sends his greetings too. He'd be up here if he were here. Ruth was about to become NACRA's president, and nothing had prepared her for what was ahead. She wisely sought out Charlie. Ruth, Marlene, Julia Hicks, Charlie, and I all met together at his apartment to talk through what NACRA was, where it had come from, and what its future might be. Those were intense talks, and if you look on the website, you can see film made at those meetings, and there's Ruth scribbling feverishly, trying to take down all the wisdom that was being delivered. Then and there, we resolved to lift NACRA to the next level. And what did that mean? First, it meant professional administration to secure the corporate records, to systematize the administration, and to grow the membership. The result was the retention of Bennett and Pierce firm, partners in association management. Next, it meant soliciting donations and grants to supplement the dues income. The result was a push on donations that kept NACRA afloat for a couple of years. Moreover, it meant recognizing the individual membership core that had emerged as central for NACRA while continuing to engage effectively with our state and community association partners. The latter had been neglected during an interim period. We resolved to reinvigorate the membership. Governance was a challenge. Ruth initiated a bylaws revision to reflect more accurately NACRA's mission and how best to achieve it. Further, it meant developing a more assertive program of member services. The result was the generation of the model laws, the start of a more visible program at leading age meetings, work on a resident Bill of Rights, and the creation of NACRA U that you all learned a little bit about earlier today. Ruth took the lead in all these activities, and her presidency has been an era of great advance. Of course, we still have a long way ahead of us. We need more individual members. We need closer relationships with our state and community partners. We need to reach the thousands upon thousands of residents in areas in which NACRA is not yet a presence. But tonight, we pause to honor Ruth for setting us on this upward trajectory and for getting us well launched along that path. Much praise to you, Ruth Walsh. We are fortunate to have you among us. Thanks for all that you have done to lift NACRA to the next level.
Thank you so much, Jack. That is well spoken. Now we're not going to forget about Ruth at this point because we're going to come back to Ruth later in the program. But I'm now going to invite Linda Sent, who is with the Mystic Scottish Country Dancers, to introduce our program for us.
Good evening. If you didn't know it, last Sunday, the 6th, was National Tartan Day. It was declared to recognize the contribution of the Scottish and the Scotch-Irish to the establishment of our country and its prosperity. To give you an idea of their influence, of the original 13 governors of the American colonies, 9 were of Scottish descent.
Whoa.
Nearly half of the signers of the Declaration of Independence were of Scottish descent. Virtually all of the industry was founded by the Scottish, early industry. On another note, the Scottish music and the dance of that time became the roots of country music and our own national dance, square dancing. You may have tried the Virginia reel at school. Ruth Walsh is the president of the Mystic Scottish Country Dancers, and we have kept her quite literally on her toes. Between dancing once a week, marching in parades with the Mystic Highland Pipe Band every month or so with Toby, her Westie Terrier, and indulging Toby in long walks every day, she is a shining example of how to keep limber and spry. Ruth has invited us to give you an abbreviated sampling of a Robert Burns supper. It is a popular event performed around the world in January in remembrance of the poet Robert Burns, Scotland's bard. He is of the 1700s and had quite an influence in his time and a lasting legacy since many of his writings are still applicable and quite familiar. For the sake of brevity, we will ask you to follow along with your program as we move from presentation to presentation without further introductions. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to give a address of Robert Burns, The Immortal Memory. It began in 1801 in the village of Alloway in Ayrshire. 9 people gathered together at the cottage where Robert Burns was born, and they came to toast the memory of their friend. This was the first Burns Supper. It has been 213 years since that gathering, and we're still celebrating. We're celebrating his words and his motivations. The annual celebration of Robert Burns in Scotland and throughout the world now ranks the second most celebrated birthday in the history of mankind. There are more public statues of Robert Burns around the world than any other writer. From my research, only Queen Victoria and Christopher Columbus have more statues in their figures. So too, Auld Lang Syne is the second most sung in the world. Happy Birthday is the first. So why is there all this enthusiasm and devotion to one man? Why does Robert Burns get an immortal memory? Why should we be here tonight, like thousands of other people around the world commemorating this poet? Robert Burns was more than a mere poet. He was a plowman. He was a romantic. He was a lover. He was a Freemason. He was a nationalist. He was revolutionary. In 1796, he died in poverty at the age of 37, and yet more than 10,000 people attended his funeral. When Robert Burns wrote, he wrote with everyone in mind. Though his first audiences were local and Scottish, he sought to express thoughts and feelings that could be understood by any reader, whether they were English, American, French, Italian, Japanese. Burns was translated into Russian and became a source of inspiration for the oppressed Russian people. Robert Burns had great empathy for the common man. He represented the poor, hard-working man, not as an object of pity, but instead a source of nobility, honesty, and virtue. Burns' poems dignify and illuminate the struggle faced by the vast majority of the world's population today. He dreamed of a true brotherhood that encompasses all mankind and allows all people a chance to enjoy their inalienable right of dignity and freedom. And he was able to express his thoughts in short and elegant phrases that are truly inspirational. For example, in speaking of honesty, princes and lords are but the breath of kings. An honest man is the noblest work of God. Speaking on nature, but pleasures are like poppies spread. You seize the flower, its bloom is shed, or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white that melts forever. He coined the phrase, the best made plans of mice and men gang affably. Speaking of human nature, man's inhumanity to man makes countless thousands mourn. Speaking on love, but to see her was to love her, love but her, and love but forever. Simple words, deep meanings. Called the national poet of Scotland, Burns has attained almost mythical stature, not only in his native land, but around the world. He is revered as the poet of the common man, the heaven-taught plowman, who expressed the soul of a nation and sang of universal humanity. Burns is admired for his naturalness, compassion, humor, and his fervent championship of the innate freedom and dignity of humanity. Let me conclude this with just one thought. There's an old Mexican tradition concerning death that says you die 3 times. Once when you cease to breathe. Once when you're buried. Once when your name is never spoken or mentioned again on earth. If that's true, then Robert Burns will never really die at all, and we can continue to remember and honor him. Thank you.
Done by Robbie Burns. But we're going to have a little bit of audience participation here. It's a tradition of ours. There will be a point in this where I am going to take a knife and I am going to poke that haggis. Actually, I'm going to stab that haggis, okay? And at that point, I would like you all to do some sort of a sound you think a haggis would make when it gets stuck. Okay? And I want audience participation. I don't want you to lay back. I want to hear it. That little booger's going to squeal. All right? Then I'll come another part in the address where we talk about the trembling earth. Okay? And when we talk about the trembling earth, I want you all to stomp your feet, beat on the table or whatever, and let's make this place rumble. And then at the very end, that's right, at the very end, we're going to say, and ye her a haggis. And you probably have it on your program, but when I say that, I expect all of you to go ahead and resound with me and ye her a haggis. All right, did I make myself understood? Did I make myself clear? All right, here we go.
Yeah, please repeat.
Bob, if you would step forward with the haggis a little bit. There we go. When the time comes, he'll hold it for now. Fair for your honest and sonsy face, great chieftain o' the Puddin race. Above them all ye take your place, Gange, Tribe, and Therum. And well are you worthy of grace, as lang as my errand. The groaning trencher, there ye fill your hurdies like the distant hills. Your pin, what helped to mend a mill in time o' need, while through your pores the dew distills like amber bead. Here we go. His knife, see, rustic labor type. And cut you up. With ready flight. That was the best I've ever heard. Drenching your gushing in tails bright like bonny ditch. And oh, what a sight. Warm, reeking, and rich. And horn for horn, men stretch and strive. Deal take the hindmost, yet on men drive till all their wheels swallowed kite people alive are bent like drums. Then all good men, best like the rife, Bethink it. Is there that out of their French ragout or olio would straw a stew, or fricassee would make her spew with perfect scunner, look down with sneerful, scornful view on sick a dinner? Poor devil, see him out of his trash, as thickless as a withered rash, his spindle shank, whiplash, his neve, knit through bloody flood, or field to dash. Oh, how unfit! But mock the rustic haggis fit, the trembling air resounds his bed. Put in his wally neve a blade, and he'll make it whistle. Legs and arms and heads will sned like taps o' thistle. O powers what make mankind your care, and dish them out their bill of fare. All Scotland needs nae stinking ware that jouts and luggies. But if you wish her a grateful prayer, gie her a haggis! Addressed to the haggis.
Yes, they do.
One of the favorite parts here, we have that wee little dram. If you all have your glasses up, ladies and gentlemen, Robbie Burns and the address to the haggis. To the haggis. Very good. Piper, if you will, please.
Please bow your head for the Silker Grace. Some he meet and cannot eat, some would eat but want it. We hae meat and we can eat, so let the Lord be thanked. Amen.
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 I perhaps am the only person here who has served the Church of Scotland at the Pilrig Dalmany Church in Leith, Edinburgh, and am the chaplain to the St. Andrew Caledonian Society of the Puget Sound and the Washington Commissioner for the Clan MacNicoll from the Isle of Skye. I was asked at a Bobby Burns night to use Bobby Burns' wonderful poem, Flow Gently, Sweet Afton, and to write a grace that we could sing together. And we haven't sung anything since we've been here. And this is a test of your musical ability. And you have the words before you. You want to try first on the squeeze box?
No.
With that emotional support, I'd like to move forward.
I'll give you a lead in.
Well, let me, give me a key.
Key?
That's right there. Now hold it. That's enough. Not too much. It's with thanks for the friends who do make our lives bright. We're going to sing it. With thanks for the friends who do make our lives bright. With thanks for the meal we enjoy now this night. Embracing your goodness, our praise we do sing. For all of life's blessings, our thanks we now bring.
Friends, I assume that you all are working on your dessert, so that means that we're ready for the next part of the program. First, we're going to reverse it a little bit. We're going to have the presentation first. We wanted Ruth to have a small token mementos of our love and appreciation for her service. So we've gotten one or two little things. First, I have an Olympic-style medal which says "Star Performer."
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Then we can't let an occasion like this go by without a plaque. Now, ordinarily these plaques are full of whereases and wheretofores and heretofores, and it all sounds kind of phony. So I thought we want to do something a little different. So some time ago, Ruth shared with the board a favorite prayer of hers, derived from an ancient Gaelic rune. Do you know what a Gaelic rune is? Yeah. What is a Gaelic rune? It's an inscription, an ancient subscription. And so, since Ruth was very fond of this prayer, I thought rather than giving her something full of whereases, I would give her a plaque with this prayer on it. I happen to be an amateur calligrapher, so I have handmade this amateur plaque, doing my best to use the Unical Celtic style. A little bit difficult for me, but anyway, I did my best. So I'm going to read this to you before I present it to Ruth. The prayer, most of you probably know this prayer. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace of the light of the world to you. And then at the bottom I've written, presented to Ruth H. Walsh on April 11, 2014, with love and gratitude for her dedicated service as president of the National Continuing Care Residents Association.
This was the plaque, or this was the song that was sung for me, and it just tore me apart now, and it's tearing me apart. And I thank you so much. It's been my honor to lead NACRA for these years, and as they said in the Army, I'll try, sir, and I tried, sir, and I thank you for that.
We now have two toasts. I'm going to call on Reverend Bob Nicholson to offer the first of the two toasts, and then will be helped by Bob Sent for the second toast.
I only have this poor little scrawny piece of Kleenex.
Dearly beloved, no, that's the wrong one. Well, this almost is as hard for me as it is for her, so hang in there. This is to Ruth. Have your glasses ready, will you? I don't have a glass. Will you get me a glass? Here's the holy water. I'm going to clean the haggis in. Okay, this is a toast to Ruth Walsh, so get your glasses ready. It's in gratitude for her leadership as president of the National Continuing Care Red Association. It's a toast to Ruth for her love, her light, and her leadership that she brought to us in NACRA. And also, it's a toast for all the women here and elsewhere who have blessed our lives over the years. Remember these gifts that bless us in so many ways, especially for Ruth, along with all the women. And you know, I know in this room I can almost start calling out names that this toast is for, as well as Ruth, who have and do touch our lives and strengthen our work at NACRA and our communities. So we give thanks to God for those who are instruments of mercy and legislators of good, who are savers of patience and spenders of faith, who are teachers and mentors from cradle to grave, who are rockers of children and shakers of cages, who are managers of resources and facilitators of life, who are sewers of teddy bears and banners and quilts, who are scrubbers of faces and dishes and floors, who are tellers of stories and spinners of dreams, who are bearers of babies and burdens and blessings, tutors of children and sources of truth. Builders of egos and habitat houses, huggers and greeters and makers of peace, mothers and sisters, friends and neighbors, speakers of wisdom and vessels of grace, reflectors of hope, here and in every place. I give you Ruth Holland Walsh, our friend. Cheers. Cheers.
I'll give you back your hanky.
Use it first.
Cheers and don't blow your nose.
Well, I think one of the things that always makes gatherings like this a little bit more interesting, perhaps, is to be entertained, especially with something perhaps some of you have never seen before. So my toast tonight is to the entertainers that entertained you this evening, the dancers, the piper, and anybody else here? My wife, who organizes the whole thing, the schedule of the whole thing, and keeps us all in line. So if you would raise your glasses, and we're going to go ahead and honor, or we'll make a toast to the entertainers, and how much more appropriate would it be than to pay the piper, have him accept that toast. So if the piper would please rise, come up here. Well, you can have your hands full here. This is what's known as a friendship vessel. It's called a quake. Inside here, Robert was sanitizing his fingers. Okay? But it's sanitized, all right? And this is like I say, it's known as a quake. And to the entertainers accepted by the piper. So piper, consider yourself paid along with all the entertainers. To the entertainers. Now, he has to swallow the whole thing. Oh, did you get some in your beard? I guess that's okay. I guess that's okay. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's why the engine's thick.
Oh, okay. All right. But it was good.
Oh, it's very good.
Oh, okay.
Got any more?
No. I believe, Dan, this brings the evening to a close. Yes. All right. What we're going to do next, okay, before everybody sort of just scoots and gets out of here, we're going to have a couple of things. The piper's going to get up and just to sort of put a period on the celebration tonight. We're going to play Amazing Grace, and then he's going to do Auld Lang Syne. Okay, not sign now, but sign. Made quite famous by Robert Burns. It was his tune. So we're going to get up, and when we get up, we're going to stand in a circle, or you can stand in circles at your tables. When we get to Auld Lang Syne, we're going to take and play it twice through, and on the second part, when we say hand and thine, you just go ahead and, my wife likes to say, okay, everybody, right over left, and join hands with the person that's next to you, right over left, and then just follow suit, okay? Because you probably have never heard it to a piper before.
And the words are on the back of your program.
Yes, the words are on the back, but it's going to be hard to know those words if you got your hand in hand, right? Okay. All right. So if we would all, right after Amazing Grace, if you all just stand up and join as many hands as we can, and we're going to do Auld Lang Syne. All right.
Okay, so Amazing Grace first.
Amazing Grace first. If you know the words.
folks, can we offer a round of applause for the Scottish, Mystic Scottish country dancers that made a wonderful evening for us. Thank you so much.